Treehouse of Horror 15 definitely has some really good moments, but there were some bits that I didn't completely love. This is the first episode of the 16th season of The Simpsons, and I still don't think I'm halfway through the seasons. Thoroughly enjoying it though, and it's not a bad Treehouse of Horror. As always, I will just go through the serials. I won't give any spoilers, but I will give some basic thoughts. And for one of the first times in a while, I actually liked Kang and Kodos in this. That's not to say I've disliked Kang and Kodos, but I've never really been that bothered about them. But actually, the intro for this is Kang and Kodos and the Simpsons family, and I actually rather enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty good start. And then the first segment that we get is the Ned Zone, parody of the Dead Zone, and Ned can see into the future. Basically, he can see death, and he touches Dr. Hibbert. He sees how Dr. Hibbert will die, and then he sees that there's something that he is going to do, and he doesn't want to do it. It's not a nice thing. So he tries to prevent it, but he has to learn that you can't mess with the future, because if you do, things might just get even more catastrophic. Kind of reminded me of a bit like Final Destination. If you escape the thing that was meant to be the deathly destiny, it will just be even worse. So I enjoyed it, but I think it's the shortest of the three, and it's actually my favourite. So I would have loved to have seen more of it, for Ned to have seen more people's deaths, or more future things that would come true immediately, and it was a great concept. I liked what we got, but I wanted to see more of it. The second one, 4 Beheadings and a Funeral, it's a parody. Wikipedia says it's a parody of From Hell, which is a great film. Johnny Depp, but honestly, it incorporates, well, we have Ebenezer Burns, Mr. Burns. Lisa is playing a very Sherlock Holmes type character, and then we obviously have the Jack the Ripper aspect in there too, and the whole thing I didn't care for. It's well animated, a lot of the accents annoyed me, but what really impressed me was the culprit and how that came to be, because I hadn't expected it and I didn't see it coming. So while I didn't really enjoy the journey with this one, the destination was great. And I actually, even though I wasn't emotionally invested in the narrative, it actually really surprised me, and I have to praise it for that. So while I didn't love the actual segment itself, I left it with kind of a happy feeling. So yeah, I'm a bit up and down with how I feel about that. The bit with Selma, rather liked. I thought that was very effective, brief but very funny. So it wasn't terrible, but it definitely, I feel like it's one of those ones that a lot of people might love, but it just wasn't for me. The third one, I don't know. In the Belly of the Boss, it's a parody of Fantastic Voyage, and Dr. Shrink creates this machine for shrinking things, and he accidentally shrinks Maggie, and Maggie ends up going inside Mr. Burns. And the Simpsons family have the chance to go inside Mr. Burns in a ship and rescue her. And I won't say what happens, but I didn't mind it. But what I did love, really love, is how Homer looked at the end, or kind of the last couple of minutes. You'll know exactly what I mean, but the way Homer looked, I just thought was creepy and eerie and delicious and wonderful and fabulously animated. So it's not, I'd say it's maybe my second favourite. If I had to rank them, it would be the Ned Zone first, then In the Belly of the Boss, then 4 Beheadings and a Funeral. None of them was bad. None of them was perfect. It's definitely a middle of the road Treehouse of Horror. And actually, I thought the one with Ned was quite tame. Normally, Treehouse of Horror, particularly the last few seasons, they really push the boat out, and they really try things that are quite shocking and really disturbing that they wouldn't ever try in the normal episodes. But all of these felt quite tame. Particularly Ned's one, I was wanting something a bit more gruesome. But I enjoyed it. It was a good episode. It's just definitely not my favourite Treehouse of Horror.